everyone, and welcome to another episode of Design Trends, a show where we explore the ins and outs of design trends currently making waves in the design world and show you how to tap into them using Canva. Today, I would like to give a very warm welcome to our guests, EJ, Dre, and Lance from Canva's video team. So I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm EJ. I'm the motion art director for Video Squad and also a motion design consultant for our video product team here at Canva. I've been working in Canva for over a year now and also help in developing a number of video features and also develop video template campaigns. We also have the amazing Dre here with us today. So Dre, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone here. I'm Dre. I'm also a designer for the Video Squad. And I think a lot, like most of you guys, I wasn't a video person before I joined Canva, but realizing how easy and fun it is to use, I really fell in love with video. And hopefully that's also something that I can help you guys see today. And I think I can hand it over to Lance.
Hello everyone, I'm Lance, a motion designer, and I work alongside EJ and Dre to create fresh video templates for you. I've been working at Canva for more than a year now, and working at Canva has been amazing. I get to exchange knowledge with really talented and good humans who inspire and support me every time. And I hope in today's session, I will be able to share with you valuable skills that will help you navigate Canva's amazing video features. So passing the floor back to Dre for his segment.
Thanks for that, Lance. I think we can show everyone the agenda for today. So before we begin, we're going to show you the video suite that we've been developing in Canva, all of the templates that we've done, and all of the features we've worked into adding these past few months and years. So other than that, we're also going to discuss some design trends that go along with these new features that we're going to share with you guys. And by the end, we hope to hear from some of you and hopefully answer those questions that you might have during the presentation.
Last year, Canva released a full video suite. So we've got over 600,000 templates. To help you start inspired, you can create videos for TikTok, YouTube, documentaries, and almost anything else your heart desires. So here's the short video overview to show you what you can achieve using the Canva video suite.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. I got it. Up that public soda. It's the end of October. Champagne on my shoulder. This is my exposure. Up that public soda. It's the end of October. Champagne on my shoulder. This is my exposure. Up that all night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls. I gotta hit the
Well, I hope that got you excited for what's in store today. We've also got a set of tutorials. So if you're a beginner, these can really help you nail the basics. You can check them out by heading to this website, designschool.canva.com/video. Well, I would like to hand it over to EJ to get started with element animations.
All right, so thank you for that, Leah. So now let's dive into the heart of this session, which is the design trends. And first up with this, we have here elements animation. So first we can really define what is element animation. So element animation allows users to freely animate their elements however they want their elements to move in a simple click of a button. So Canva is really making things simpler for the users to animate in Canva. And this is a quick example on how users or how you can make use of our element animation in the web. So as you can see, once you click an element, you can just proceed to animate and just click whatever animation presets you want and as ever, whatever it pleases you. So as simple as that. So next one, I'll be showing you some use cases for element animation so you guys can really visualize on how to use it on your templates. So to give an overview, here are the element animation presets we'll be covering for today. So we have breathe, we have fade, pan, rise, drift, tectonic, baseline, pop, and lastly, stomp. So breathe is useful if you really want to add some subtle growing animation to your assets. So use breathe in that case. Also, you can add fade if you want your elements to fade in. This is pretty useful if you want to have some elegant reveal to your elements and animation. We also have here pan, so you can use pan if you want to animate your elements sideways. We also have rise. Use rise if you want your elements to move vertically, like what you're seeing on the example here. Also, we have drift. So you can use drift if you really want your elements to animate continuously and horizontally. And just a tip, we can use this for creating some parallax in your animation, in which we'll be discussing more on that later on. We also have tectonic. So if you want your elements to really move in, it's like a drift, but the elements are continuously moving towards the center. So it's actually an iteration of drift, if you can see. Another one, we have baseline. So use baseline if you want to animate your elements coming from a base, as you can see on my example as well here. And if you want to add some simple wipe animation to your shapes, make use of baseline. Another one is pop. So basically, you can make use of pop if you want your elements to, to add some pop. And then this will be useful if you want your elements to be more playful in that case. And finally, we have stomp if you want to add some drastic or dramatic animation to your elements. A couple of tips and tricks with regards to element animation. So only use 2 to 3 element animations. Presets will do. So as much as we want to really make use of everything, because Canva allows it to do, or to allows their users to really make use of all the animation presets, we are only suggesting to use 2 to 3 elements to make things clean and direct when it comes to animating. And here's an example of how you can make use of it. So as you can see on the background, we just added the breathe for the circle thing to really grow. And then we added a drift effect to the bass player. So it creates a simple parallax, as you can see on this specific example. And as you can see, there's also a hint of text animation on the left, in which Dre will be tackling on later on. And also, as mentioned earlier, you can create a simple parallax using Canva by applying the drift effect. For those of you guys who are not familiar with the term parallax, parallax is really creating an illusion of a depth in your photos or on your videos. So as you can see, the movement of the one in the foreground, which is the person in front, is different, has the different speed and pace from the typography behind. So it creates a depth and a dimension to your flat surface. And to apply all the learnings for the element animation, for today's session or for today's demo, we'll be doing some 3D photo trend that is pretty popular in TikTok. But in this case, instead of using TikTok, of course, we'll be using our very own Canva. So for that, I believe Leah shared this link to you in advance so we can all go through it and learn as we go along. So just click the link and then you'll be directed to this prompt. You just use template and there you have it. Okay, so for today's demo, I'll be demonstrating you some sort of parallax. So I'll be introducing you 2 options or 2 iterations of this visual. So let us go to the first one first. So the one we'll be doing today is a simple parallax of a scenery. So something like this one. To do that, it's pretty simple. So all we need to do first is to remove, of course, the background from this photo. So we have to extract the person from its background to make this the parallax possible. So all we have to do is, if you can follow me, I place also an instruction here so everyone can follow thoroughly. So just click the image like that, and then select image on this panel like so. And then on the upper middle left panel, you can see the BG remover or the background remover. So simply click it and wait for Canva to use its magic. So just wait for a couple of seconds. I think it's because of the background is pretty complicated. So really Canva is doing all the hard work for you. And there you go. So as you can see, it's actually pretty clean for that. So in a click, you produce something great that looks like this one. So you can crop it, and we'll be using it for our practice later on. And proceed to the next one. So here we have this scenery. So we'll be using this background later on as well to really create the parallax that I showed you earlier. Okay, on this page 4, we have this practice slide. So all we have to do is to just remove that. And like what we demoed earlier, just get this person, the extracted one, paste it here, get the background as well, paste it in the slide. As you can see, we covered the guy. So all we have to do is right click, send to back. Okay, and then of course it's out of proportion. So all we have to do is just drag it here and adjust it accordingly. Like so. Okay, so to be able for this effect to really work, you have to left some slack in here so it doesn't recognize it as a background. So, but instead of as an element. So to really blend the background, we can change it to white so you don't clearly see the seams, and then maybe enlarge this a bit to create some depth, and you can apply the animate effect. So first we applied animate drift. So let's find drift. Hold on. Actually, drift is under slide and in and out. So when you click an element, go to animate and find slide in and out, and just click the arrow in here to click for more. And as you can see, there's a drift, and apply the drift on the element that you have. We can also apply drift to the background to really finalize a parallax effect like so. If you see that your background is being cut off, feel free to adjust it and play it again. And there you have it. So if you want to adjust it a bit, there you go. You can actually adjust the color, not really the color grading, but just to blend the element on the background pretty well. So you can make some adjustments as well on the go. So just click the image again, edit image. You can click adjust, or you can just tweak whatever's under the sliders under the adjust selection here. So as you can see, we can adjust the brightness, contrast, and if you want to adjust the saturation, or if you want to decrease it as you please. So there you go. And there's our final product like what I showed you earlier. All right, so that's cool. All right, so we have another example here. So we'll be, instead of a parallax, we'll be recreating a zoom warp, like what we are seeing in some sci-fi movies or some drama series that we're watching. As you can see, if I play it quickly, you can see how it goes, how it creates a zoom warp, as you can see. Another, I'll be playing it again. And there you go. So again, to be able for us to recreate it, we have to extract this person from the background. So all we have to do is to click the image, edit image, and then click BG remover, and again, wait for Canva to work its magic. So I'm thinking this might take a while because of the complexity of the background, but I believe in Canva's capability to really process it before I stop talking. So there you go. We have our extracted background, and we can enlarge it to prepare it for later's usage. And we're done. Again, we have a cool background in here in which we'll be using on our final demo. And then go to the next slide, remove this, and take your extracted character. And again, take this background, paste it on the slide. And I'll be showing you an example of a shortcut. So instead of clicking send to back, which is pretty okay, but you can make use of this keyboard shortcut. So all you have to do is, if you're using Mac, just press Option, Shift, and then close, open bracket. Click. Oops, it's not working. There we go. Unfortunately, I was clicking the wrong key. So there we go. And then again, you can just freely adjust it however you want it to be. So again, let's enlarge this. Just so. Again, don't forget to leave a slack to really activate it. Get a bit bigger. And adjust again the proportion of this person. You make it smaller. And then for this, we'll be adding a different animation preset. So for animate, let's go to photo zoom. So let's apply photo zoom so it goes zoom out effect. And then let us add some breathe animation for this person so it animates opposite of the background. And there you go. So all we have to do is, again, let's adjust it accordingly to add some depth and to fix the proportion. And just so he's looking on the right direction. And there you go. And play it again. Oops, it's still being caught. So adjust it again. Place it a bit on the bottom. And there you have it. And like what I did earlier, you can pretty much adjust the color of this person. So just edit image, adjust, or just simply tweak the sliders in here under. Make it a bit darker in that case, because it's going to evening, and then adjust a bit of the contrast and maybe darken the saturation as well. And there you have it. That's it for me. And to learn more about text animation, I'm handing you over to Dre.
Thanks for that, EJ. We're going to be combining elements and text animations later. For my section, I'll be talking about text animation. So everything that EJ has taught you is actually also applicable with text content. But we're going to be talking about specifically developed presets for text. So you can see all of them here. And you can see that even though I'm using the same font for all of these, you can see how much the character changes just based on using a specific animation preset for text. So let's look at every one of them and let's see some of the unique details that have been put on by our developers. So this first one is called typewriter. You can see that it's kind of slow, like an actual typewriter. And what's unique about this one is that it animates the word per letter. So you can see it's going to spell out the letter, and that's really good if you want to get your users' attention before they step into play. And again, this is one of those animation presets that you'd want to use if you want to inject a little bit of fun and levity to your presentation. Next one, you can see the difference here is that it animates the whole word. So the whole word ascend goes up at the same time. So because of this faster pace of animation, you can actually use this for bigger chunks of text, and it's a little bit more professional compared to the other ones you've seen so far. Next one, it's kind of similar to bounce, but it goes from very small to bigger to big. So it has that detail where it has what animators call an overshoot, where it goes from really small to really big and it settles to its normal size. So it's really fun to notice those kinds of details. And next one, we have roll. So again, like I was saying earlier, some of these are really fun and really fast. So it's good for getting your users' attention. So this one is kind of like a slot machine. So it's fun for bigger chunks of text. So next one, we have skate. So you can see that all of these animation, you also have to consider the negative space around it. So that just means where the letters will be coming from and where they will animate out, or well, they disappear to. So you can see that it enters from the right and it goes out to the left. So if you're going to be using this on your design, you might need to be careful and not place anything on the sides. None of these tips really comes down to one simple principle, which is to always keep intent in mind. Or what we used to say, don't use motion without intention, because it's so easy to use. It's just one click and you're going to have really cool animated presets. But if you don't use them correctly, if you don't take into account what EJ said earlier, his tip, our general rule of thumb, where we use as much as only 2 or 3 animated presets at once, it really helps make your design look more consistent and cohesive. So that's actually what we're going to be looking at next, are combos and tricks, how to mix and match these different presets to make sure that what you're going to be designing ends up really, really cool. So for this one, you can see that I've combined 2 animated presets. The words on top, we want, is animated using shift, and the ones at the bottom, the funk, is animated with rise. So even though they are different presets, the fact that they move towards each other as they're animating makes it look really cohesive. So that's one of the best techniques to make sure that the direction of your animated assets go into a direction that looks pleasing to the eye. You can see also how we employed the use of text effects. So if you guys are familiar with some of our text effects, such as curved text, which of course makes your text look curved, you can combine that with other animation presets like typewriter so that it looks like it's animating in a circle. Another application of that, keeping the idea of intent in mind when designing, trying to think of the theme of your design is usually a helpful tool in animating it. So for this instance, I animated the title to Metallica's song, Ride the Lightning. So because of those words, lightning, I tried to apply a neon text effect, which adds a glow to our words. And also I tried to apply something that might look close to lightning, which is the roll text effect. So those ideas came to me because of what the text was saying. It kind of informed my design decision. And just for fun, you can add elements, just as EJ showed earlier. You can add some of our lightning stickers here, or maybe some lightning stickers, and apply also a neon element animation. So it flickers the same way as the text. Next up, we're going to be showing a technique that we call stacking. So this one looks really advanced and really cool, but it's actually quite simple. So this is what you're seeing now, but if we break it down, it looks like this. So it's really just 4 separate text boxes or text groups, and we applied different kinds of effects and made them look really different. The one on top is a simple white text. The one behind it is pink. The one behind it is yellow. The one behind it is white again, one at the most backward. And you can see that they also go down in opacity. So the one at the back is also very transparent compared to the one at front. But they all use a single text animated preset. So you can see that even though they're stacked on top of one another, they animate in different speeds. So it looks like they're building on top of each other. Another application of that is this example right here. So this is another example of what we call stacking. It's just using the same animated preset at the same time, but making the text or the animated stuff look different. So if we break this down, it will look like this. So it's again 4 different text boxes that looks different. Some of it is like a really transparent orange, and the one most behind is actually just a hollow text effect. And when we combine them all using the same animated preset, we're going to have something like this. And again, like trying to come up with a theme for your design is really important. So since this is Sunshine of Your Love, we kind of made it look like a sunset or a sunrise. And that just really brings the whole thing together. And we're going to look at another example where we combine what I've been talking about now and also what EJ showed you earlier, which is the combination of text and element animation. So you can see that it's very quick, but it's very simple at the same time. So applying what EJ showed earlier with a background remover, combining it with text effects, you can see how they kind of exist in this fake 3D world, which is, I think, called parallax, as EJ mentioned there. So it's really cool to combine and play around with this. And I encourage you guys to try and discover your own combinations. So what you're seeing here now is actually some of the ways that big brands have used these trends. So you can see that, Apple and of course Nike, everyone knows Apple and Nike, they use these kinds of text and element animation trends to use in their marketing materials. And that is what we're going to be looking at next. So I'm going to be opening the same link that EJ showed earlier. So for you guys, no need to open another link. We're going to be working off of the same link that you opened earlier. So for my section, I want to show you guys how to add text on what you've done with EJ. So if I show the example here, let me just play this for you. There. So you can see that the character that we created moves along in a fake 3D scene with the text. And to achieve that, I am actually going to be just copying what EJ did here. So for you guys, you can copy the ones that you've made earlier. And I'm going to paste it in our practice box here. So assuming that you already have animation for your guy here and also for the background, we're just going to be adding the text. And if you guys are not aware, we have a special shortcut for that, which is T. So just pressing T gives you a text box. So if anyone from Switzerland is joining us today, feel free to correct if this is not the correct spot. But according to reverse Google image search, this is from Switzerland. It's the Swiss National Park. So we're going to be assuming that this is for, let's say, a travel video, whether that's for YouTube or TikTok. So I'm going to type here, Switzerland. And I'm just going to make that really big. And we're going to choose a font that can really complement the design here. So for me, I'll be choosing Antonio Bold because it's really thin. It's very narrow, but it's still very bold. And just to fit the design even more, since we're going to be exploding it really huge, I'm going to limit the letter spacing so that the letters are closer together. And I'm going to make that really big, almost to the point where the edges are not seen. And I'm going to click the guy here. So we're creating a fake 3D scene. So we want the guy above Switzerland, the text Switzerland. So I'm going to do a right click and bring to front. And we're going to move him to the right just a bit. There. And to make everything easy, instead of typing another text box, I'm just going to duplicate this. So just holding Option, Shift, and dragging down. And I'm going to type Swiss National Park. And this is a good example of how you can combine different, like the text effects for animating text and animating elements. And you can see here that the white text isn't really that legible because our background is also very white because of the snow. So we're going to be adding some effects here, and I'm going to be choosing lift. So just by clicking it, you can see that the text becomes more clear, but it made it small. So we're just going to adjust that again. Switzerland, Swiss National Park. All right. And again, to add to that 3D feel, I'm going to click this text right here, our subtitle, and I'm going to move it to the front so that it's above our guy. So there's kind of a false sense of depth within our design. And you might be asking, like, why is it, occupying the outside space? But we're going to be adding animation to it. So if you guys don't know, you can shift click to elements, to text elements, and animate them the same way. So for this one, we're going to be trying to find drift, which is here under basic. And there. It's very simple. You can do this in, of course, other applications, but I think it's really good for travel videos. Let's see that again. There. All right, for the next one, we're going to be doing a similar thing, but we're going to stepping it up a little bit. So if I click here, there. So you see that we have two different animated presets. The word fortune animates differently from the rest of the sentences. So let's look at how to do that. So again, I'm going to be grabbing from what EJ made earlier and pasting it here. And you can move this guy a little bit to the right, and we can flip him so that he's still looking at the road. I'm going to click flip horizontal. There. And we can do the same thing. Just press T to add text and you type fortune. So even though it's one sentence, fortune favors the bold, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be using different text boxes, and I'm going to show you later why that's important. But for now, I'm going to make this text white and also do the same thing that we did earlier, add a bit of text effect and add lift so that it's more legible. And I'm going to be choosing same font. Of course, I encourage you guys to try and experiment with different fonts that you like. We're going to be making that big. And same thing. So since our letters are really tall, we have that luxury of making them quite close to each other. There. So before we add any animated effects, I'm going to duplicate this 3 times. And I'm going to type out what we need. Fortune favors. And then here, the bold. So we have 3 different text boxes. And what that allows us to do is to animate them in different ways. So I'm going to click fortune. I'm going to click animate. And for this, I am going to use roll. Trying to think of the theme of your design. Since it's fortune, then maybe we want to use the roll effect, which I'm trying to find here under bold writing. So since it looks like a slot machine, maybe it fits the word fortune a little bit more. And using that idea of intention, since we want people to focus on the word fortune, I'm going to click something a little bit simpler for these 2 other text boxes. I'm going to click them, shift click to select them both, click on animate, and maybe just choose something simple like ascend. There. And before we wrap it up, we can do some 3D maneuvering again, similar to what we did. So I can make this a little bigger. And you can see how we can try to adjust the front and back arrangement. Bring this guy to the front so that you can make it appear as though it's a real object occupying space in this photograph. There, you can adjust it a little bit. So if you guys have typed other words other than fortune favors the bold, feel free to play around with the spacing as well. And that's pretty much it. Let's see how it looks. There. So you can see what EJ mentioned earlier, that if you do this kind of technique, sometimes the legs of the guy gets cut off. So it's just a matter of adjusting it. Let's see how this one looks. Let's play. There. So you still have that zoom warp effect that EJ taught you, but we've added a bit of text to it. And that's pretty much it for me. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I'm going to be handing it over to Lance for the next section.
So thank you, Dre and EJ, for that amazing tips and demos. So I'm Lance. For my segment, I'll walk you through the different transitions that you can create in Canva. So first, I'll give you a brief introduction. What are transitions? We will also dive deep into the settings on how you can best use them. And I'll also show some demos on how to replicate trends and take the transition feature to the next level. And our last part, we will have an activity after wherein you can apply what you just learned. So first, what are transitions? So transitions are post-production techniques used in films or video editing to connect 2 cut scenes. And oftentimes, people just use a simple cut or fade cut like the ones you see on the left. Sometimes people want to be more fun and quirky, so we use shape transitions like what you see on the example on the right. And currently in Canva, we have 4 useful transitions that you can use. All of them can be accessed using your free or pro account. And for you to be able to access the transitions, first on your Canva homepage, click Create a Design, choose Video, and then add a new slide. And now on your editor, click the space between the two new slides that you created, and a new button will appear and it should show add transition, and that's where you can add transition. And now let's dive deep into each one of the transition presets. So the first option is your go-to dissolve transition. So it gives you a smooth crossfade transition from your clip A to B, and you can adjust the duration. So it gives you the ability to control the speed of the fading of the two clips. If you use a lower value, you can achieve a universal fade, and you can increase it for a more delicate or slowed fade. And up next, we have the slide transition. So this transition smoothly swipes your footage from left to right, and you can choose the direction from left, top, right, down, depending on your preference. So the slide gives you two customizable settings. So the first one is duration, wherein you have the ability to control the speed of the slide. And the other one is the direction, where you have the ability to choose which direction you want your next footage to enter. And slide with the slow duration value is good for photo slideshows and product features videos, while a high duration value is good for dynamic, fast-paced sequences such as sports and fitness videos. And up next, we have circle wipe transition. So this transition creates a radial mask from your clip A to B. So circle wipe gives you two settings. So you have duration and direction. So duration, like the other ones, allows you to tweak the speed of the transition, while the direction of the circle wipe, it can give you an option to choose between in or out, where direction for the intro of the radial wipe. So for this transition, it is commonly used for fun and quirky templates and themes that involves dynamic shapes. But of course, there is no limit on how you can use these presets. And last but not the least, we have the line wipe transition. So it creates a line wipe motion from your clip A to B. And it is like a toned down version of slide, but this one has more a linear movement. So line wipe gives you two settings that you can customize. So you have duration and the direction as well. So for the duration, you can adjust the speed, and the direction, you can adjust the settings where you want your next footage to come in, left, right, top, or down. So line wipe works best for professional, clean, and corporate theme templates. Now that we showcase the different transition presets available in Canva, we can now tweak their settings to achieve the look that you're aiming for. Now let's take the transitions to the next level. So for our design trend segment, we will try to replicate a trendy transition that we commonly see on video. So here's the example. There. It is called the shape transition. So it uses shape blocks to transition from your clip A to B. And this is a medium way of executing a transition. And we will be needing some pro features to properly execute this technique. And here's a step-by-step guide on how to create the shape transition.
Now, let's recreate the trendy shape wipe effect inside Canva. Let's say you finished your video sequence already. The first step is create a new slide between the clips where you want to insert the shape transition. Make the background color of the slide similar to the background color of the frame on the right. Create 4 equally sized rectangles. Change the colors of the rectangles. Make sure that the colors that you choose are distinct to each other. Select all rectangles, and we will apply a Pro Element animation preset called Baseline. We want to make the rectangles animate from lower left to upper right. And to do that, select again everything. Rotate the shapes to a 60-degree angle, then scale it up until it covers the entire screen. When you click play, you can now preview the shapes animating. Next step is to trim this frame to 1.3 seconds. It's time to add a transition preset. Let's start with the transition in. To do that, click Add Transition, select Linear Wipe, set the duration to 0.3, and then make the direction to the right. And now, let's do it again for the transition out. Select Linear Wipe, set the duration to 0.3, and then make the direction to the right. Now, let's preview again. We have successfully created the trendy shape wipe transition inside Canva.
All right, so Leia will provide you the link to the editable doc file so you can explore the transition effect yourself. Okay, so up next, let's take things even further. So the next design trend that I'm going to show you is how to create this dynamic glitch sequence. So let's preview the example. There. So this sequence uses what I call in-between. So usually there are 2 to 3 quick frames in between your two main clips. So here's your clip A and clip B. So the ones in betweens are the in-betweens. So they are the ones that you will use for achieving this transition. And I'm going to show you how we can create it using Canva.
Here is our main sequence. The first step you need to do is to create 2 new slides between your 2 main clips. Now, we need to design our in-betweens. Remember, the in-between design should be coherent to our 2 original frames. First, let's look for a nice footage that we can place here. This is a video for gaming, so I'll search Gaming Neon on our library. And let's see what available footage we can use that could match our original 2 footages. I think this will work. Now let's add some glitches. There are a lot of glitch clips available on our library, but I already like the glitch footage that we have on our original frames. So let me just copy it and paste here. Now, I need to emulate a glitch effect. And in order to achieve that, I'm going to crop and distribute the glitches on our frame. Now let's add major elements for our in-between. So looking back to our finished example, we're going to add these texts. Let's type gaming. Adjust the position and scale. I'll place a text effect here called halo. Right now, it's looking pretty thick for our composition. So I'm going to slide this till I get a value of 1. I'm going to duplicate this text and will remove the halo effect. Adjust the position and scale. Let me also adjust the opacity of our outline text so it doesn't compete that much with our opaque text. Now it's time to add minor details that would complete the look. Let's search for glitch on our Elements tab. I'm going to place it here and will duplicate it 3 times. Then I'll just copy these custom glitch elements that I made out of squares from our original frames. Now, it's time to apply some elements and text animations that EJ and Ray taught us a while ago. For these texts, I'll be using the animation preset called Tectonic. Currently, our first in-between is already looking good. To buy us some time, I already pre-built the second in-between so that we can finally add the transition presets. The in-betweens are quick flashes of frames, so we will trim our 2 in-betweens time to 0.7 seconds. It's time to add some transition presets. For our first transition, let's use slide. Tweak the duration to 0.24, retain the direction to left. And for our second transition, we will be using linear wipe. For this one, we will set the duration to 0.24. Retain the direction to left. And for our third transition, we will be using slide again. Set the duration to 0.24 and the direction to left. Now that our transitions are fully set, let's preview our glitch transition sequence.
That's how you can use the Canvas transition feature to take your videos to the next level. So we will have an activity, and in this activity, we'll try to explore more about the transition and create something like this. Okay, so here on our workbook, there's a guide here, a step-by-step guide here, and a refresher on how you can use the transitions. Let's do the first one for you, so everyone can follow. So for our first transition, it says here that in between frames 5 and 6, we need to add the transition, and that transition should be circle wipe. So let me just place it here. Circle wipe. And it says on the instruction that our circle wipe duration should have 0.3 duration, and we should select the direction to out. So let's adjust the slider. You can actually just slide the slider or type in the value depending on your preference, whatever is easy for you, and then select the direction to out. And once you preview it, you can now see that our transition that we just created already applied. So for the next cuts that you need to apply transition on, I'll give it to you as an homework, so you can fully explore and experiment with the transition and its settings one by one. And that's it for our transition segment. I hope you learned something new, and I'll pass the floor back to Leah for our next segment.
Thank you so much, guys. I don't know about everyone else, but I really enjoyed that. So I want to thank you all for the hard work you put into that and your amazing workbooks. Like, what a bonus, not one, but 2 workbooks. So if anyone does have any questions, now's the time, pop it in the chat and we will do our best to answer them. We've actually got a question already, and they were just wondering, can we adjust the speed of animations in Canva? Do you guys know anything about that or any workaround?
So right now, unfortunately we can't really adjust it at the moment, but we're promising you that we're really working with our product team to really make it work. We'll promise you that you will be able to adjust the speed of the animation later on.
Definitely stay tuned for that. The next one is whether we can add audio to our animations and project files in Canva.
We actually have a really good audio library if you have the pro version, but in terms of syncing the animation, that's a similar answer to what EJ said, is that it's something we're working on to make sure that the speed of the animation can match your audio, but right now it's almost as is. So we're working on that, but hopefully soon we also get to play around with syncing audio and animations.
Yes, there's definitely going to be a lot of exciting product features coming out for video, so very keen. So our next question is from Jojo, and she heard you mention something about leaving some slack on the design. So are you able to elaborate on that?
Oh, yeah. During the demo, I was leaving some slack on the design just to be able for you to really make use of the element animation, because right now I think we can actually fix it later on, but if you place it when you don't leave a slack on the background, Canva automatically recognizes it as a background, so it attaches it on the background, and in that case you can really add some particular animation onto it, and it really becomes a page animation rather than an element animation. So that's why I really left some slack on that, so we can do the parallax that I made earlier. So yeah, there you go. So for now, you can only leave a slack, but later on, I'm really hoping to work on that one, that Canva can recognize it as background or as an element moving forward. So there you go.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so much. I think that wraps up our show for today, but we've just got a few resources I would love to share with you. So the first one is our Design School events website. So to see more workshops like this, you can head to designschool.canva.com/events. And Here is the link for Canva's Amazing Design School, where there is a wide range of videos and content which can be used to extend your skills even further. And if you haven't already, I would recommend joining Canva's YouTube channel. We have so much content on there, and you can definitely spend hours and hours just going through it all. So you can scan the QR code on the screen now or search for Canva in YouTube, and we should be the first one that pops up. Well, thank you all for joining. I hope you learned something, and we're looking forward to seeing you again at another Canva Live webinar soon. Thank you all. Bye.